Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be going through another installment of my social media metrics and earnings report for crypto monetized and blockchain social platforms. Always quite a mouthful there, but essentially we're going to be just looking at, how I've done using these platforms, like how much follower growth I've gotten, how many engagements am I getting, how many video views. And then more importantly, for what I know a lot of you guys are really interested in, is how much you're actually able to earn from all of that in comparison to what you might be earning instead from just using YouTube, and then kind of comparing where you might want to be spending some of your time and prioritizing to be able to get those kinds of gains as well. And just, great ways to back up and more thoroughly distribute your content to a lot of different people around the world. So with that being said, we're going to be diving into all of that after a quick word from my sponsor. A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor, Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android. Okay, thanks again to my sponsor. Let's jump into it. So as always, we start off by taking a look at the overall earnings in my total earnings and what we've earned the past month. So my total earnings are now at $37,000, well, $37,593.42. So really, really great to see. That's Canadian dollars, by the way. And that's taken from the time of earning it. So recently, a lot of my earnings have actually gone down because the value of those cryptocurrencies have gone down. But in the past, I've seen a lot of appreciation as well. So in reality, like today, with appreciation included, this is way, 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 way higher. So do keep that in mind. With crypto, you're able to earn and then appreciate on top of your earnings, or put those earnings to work. You can stake, you can do a lot of different things, and you can make your money make more money. So this is just the tip of the iceberg for what is possible, but this is still substantial. In the previous month, in January, I earned $622.16. You can see that's, everything's kind of cooling down. It really does always seem correlated to how crypto is moving. If it's trending upwards or downwards, tends to affect how much you're going to earn as well, just naturally with, the actual value, but also with how many people are actually looking up crypto content, if being interested in actually buying, looking at tutorials, diving into all this stuff. It's always going to be much higher when crypto is trending up. So, this isn't something that was unexpected. And, as things really get into gear and, we see ETH 2.0, we see more countries adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, I'm sure a lot of this is going to start to vamp up again. Right now, it seems like we were in a bit of a sell-off because of the Ukraine crisis, but I think this is also going to push people towards buying more Bitcoin. And with everything that just happened in Canada, a lot of people are waking up to, how safe it is to leave crypto on exchanges and a lot of these different things. So a lot of people are buying crypto and now holding it in their own wallets off exchanges, which also gives people more confidence that they aren't likely to sell as quickly or as easily. So we have a little bit more confidence in the long-term holding of these different cryptocurrencies. So I'm very bullish, and I will talk more on that on my investing report, but this just gives you a little bit of an idea for how things have been performing over the last little while. We're going to dive into the actual full report now. So I've been doing a lot of tedious manual tracking of all these metrics. I track many, many, many platforms in the past. I've tracked over 50 in total. Some have been discontinued. I've stopped tracking on certain ones because I didn't think they were very good, etc. I've stopped tracking SoMe now in February. I haven't been earning anything from it, obviously, but I've stopped tracking it because I've fully disavowed it, and I recently put out a video about it, so you can check that out. It was a mess, so just don't even worry about SoMe. If you want to earn, you can earn on Hive, and you're more likely to earn Leo through the LeoFinance community versus trying to go on Hive and post in the SoMe community. So I would also keep that in mind. With all that manual tracking, I started to eventually pay someone to do it for me to allow me to focus more on this. And since then, I've then hired some developers, some coders who code on Python to write me scripts to automatically pull a lot of this stuff. And I've since gone back and got a lot of data that I was missing previously. So now I've added that all in. Everything is 100% accurate and up to date. It's no longer up to, potential human error. It's all tracked and done automatically, as Andre Gic would say. So a lot of these values might be a little bit more or less than they normally would be, but going forward, this is going to be extremely accurate, and I'll have more time to be able to work on content versus all this tracking. So that's fantastic. You can see I'm up 3% for engagements, over 400,000 now, which is fantastic. Over 900,000 video views. I'm hoping before the end of the summer or around, Q2, Q3, I will have passed 1 million video views. So that'll be really, really cool milestone. Everything else is progressing normally. Followers have been going up a little bit more now that I've been digging a little deeper into these various status platforms that I'm using, and I'm expanding on to new platforms like Getter and taking Floix or however it's pronounced a little bit more seriously. I'm getting a little bit deeper into the platforms that I am recommending, and I'm pulling back a little bit on the platforms that I'm cutting off and discontinuing, essentially. You can see everything's progressing, sort of how it normally does. Torum's been growing a lot. YouTube is still kind of a little stagnant ever since that community strike, which is not surprising. Really unfortunate with LBRY. I will get into it a little bit later when we look at the earnings, but LBRY has made it very, very challenging for LBRY users to continue to want to actually use the platform and be incentivized to, which is just a real tragedy because, the largest portion of my following is on LBRY. I'm the 46th top account. It was a great situation. I'm still going to be posting to it. I still think it's great for censorship resistance. It's just not really a way to be earning crypto anymore. Hopefully, with the introduction of their ad share monetization model, that will be fixed. But as it currently stands, it's not that ideal. And I'm seeing more instances of them banning accounts and things like that, even on LBRY, the decentralized application, not just Odysee. They said it was for copyright, which is fine. But when they say the app is decentralized and then they ban people, you got to kind of question that. They control the governance. There aren't other interfaces for LBRY that like third party, just anyone could be working on. I don't see anything like that being made. So LBRY is really lacking in development, in, what is actually supposed to make it decentralized. A lot of that stuff is lacking. And I would just say that LBRY is kind of falling off the top. And I would say Hive is really firming up its place at being the best, most decentralized, most reliable, most consistent blockchain social media crypto monetized platform. I haven't been doing interviews for quite some time, but I will actually be starting this up again in Q2. I have a lot of great interviews lined up, including a follow-up with Luke Mulks from Brave Browser. I've also got the CEO from Thorchain. He's going to come on and talk about Thorchain and ThorSwap, which I believe is currently the best decentralized multi-chain swap application in existence. So we're going to be diving into that. I have several other people that I'm going to be lining up, and I'm just going to be diving in full on back into the interviews because I'm going to be essentially doing 20 to 25% less work on my day job, and I'm going to be shifting all that focus over here to making content. That's primarily going to be through interviews, but I'm also going to be trying to do more content as well and sort of catch up on a lot of the things that I've been working on. There's some really big things that I have coming down the pipeline, including how much of crypto is actually used for money laundering, privacy coin comparisons, stablecoin comparisons, wallet comparisons and reviews, exchange comparisons and reviews, guides for all the top platforms, as well as finally doing my comprehensive review, which I've been putting off, but it's coming very, very soon. And I'm slowly sort of working on all of these things at the same time. So it's taking a while, but it's going to be worth it with everything when it all comes together, essentially. So moving on from that, I've had a few more sponsors as always. I'm basically going to take a few minutes in every monthly update to just remind people that I work with sponsors to just post on Twitter. So if you don't want to see promotional stuff, just follow me on all my other platforms. The whole point is that Twitter is my promotional place, and you're incentivized to follow me on blockchain social media platforms instead of Twitter to not see those promotions. So it's a win-win where I'm getting followers on these blockchain social platforms and potentially earning on some of them, and you don't have to see the promotions. You'd still see everything that you would see otherwise. Also, I do sponsored ad integrations about 10 seconds in my YouTube videos sometimes. These are just the two ways that I do sponsorships. Very, very minimal and unintrusive. And for the most part, you won't even really notice it if you're not following me on Twitter. And you just like skip the 10 seconds or the first like minute or two or whatever of the video. So I just want to always be upfront that when I do work with these companies, I'm not like, it's not always that I'm 100% using their product or something. A lot of the times it's just like an ad space. So, take that with a grain of salt. I'm fully transparent and upfront about it, and I let people know every month, and I'm going to continue to do this just so you guys are aware and no one's ever caught off guard thinking that like I was highly supporting and endorsing something because I did one ad with them one time. That's not what it is, and it's very obviously an ad. And yeah, so anyways, moving on to what I know most of you are here for, which is how much did I actually earn in the month of January. It came to $622.16 Canadian, a little bit lower than normal, but again, it's kind of in line with how crypto's been trending in the markets. So PublishOX is pretty consistent as always. Brave browser is always generally offering between like $5 to $10. So this is all very consistent. Like I said, LBRY has sort of fallen off. They essentially made their rewards like -90 to -95%. Last month, I only had 1,500 or whatever, because when I brought this up, they gave me 1,000 LBC as a sort of like, don't be as upset about this kind of thing. But, now you can see I only earned $6 from it. So, going from earning $2,000 to $6, it's hard to keep people wanting to use the platform. A big part of monetization is consistency, because if one day you can earn 1,000 and the next day you can earn nothing, then no one really has any confidence in that or certainty. When you have platforms like PublishOX that are always kind of generally giving out similar rewards, when Brave's giving out similar rewards, when Hive is giving out pretty consistent and similar rewards, you get a lot more confidence in these platforms that they're reliable and that you're not just going to lose all of your rewards one day because they've been consistent. So, a lot of these platforms aren't consistent, and that's not usually talked about a lot because most people are not tracking their earnings month over month. I am, in order to give you this kind of overview so you can see the differences month over month and how things sort of trend and change. One thing that's also very important to mention for LBRY is that about 2 years ago, original founding creators such as myself on LBRY were gifted 100,000 time-locked LBC. It might have been different for different people, but as far as I know, all the founding creators got 100,000. It was supposed to unlock on February 14th, 2022. It did not, because they did not code in the claim feature that would allow you to do this, even though they had claimed 2 years ago that it was already coded and it just needed to be activated, which I found pretty sketchy. Because essentially, if everyone were to all sell at the same time, they would completely tank the price of LBC. and that would be very concerning. So my conspiracy theory is that they were doing this on purpose, but you can email them and get your funds anyways, as I did. But I would be very wary that in the coming weeks, once they actually do make this available, if they make it available, that there's going to be a massive drop in the price. So I sold all of my 100,000 LBC right away, and I put most of it into, I believe, Matic, Monero, and Rune. That's just my take, and I just want to make sure everyone is aware, especially people who are watching on LBRY, that the price may tank anytime in the next month or so. It really depends when that new feature comes out. So for Coast.tv, I found that this has always been, or it's becoming a little bit more consistent, which is really nice. And I've always just taken it out. It's a BEP20 token, so I've always just swapped it for BNB, and then I either keep the BNB or I buy Rune with it. For Hive and LeoFinance, they've been offering consistent, great rewards, probably some of the best rewards in total. I would say next up would be Read.Cash. But Hive has been extremely consistent, producing very, very good rewards, and the community there is very strong and very, very decentralized. It is the most decentralized blockchain social media platform in existence that I'm aware of. For Read.Cash, as I said, it's also been very, very consistent. I'm actually earning a lot more lately, which is really, really great to see. However, the price is a little bit down, so naturally the value of what I've earned is down as well. Read.Cash and Noise.Cash continue to be really, really great platforms. The main caveat that you do have to always keep in mind is that they're run by a very centralized, very small, anonymous team that was 100% funded by one person and could at any time just, stop working on the site or take it down or just take the money or whatever. It's really out of their generosity that the site is still running and they're still giving everyone free money and free rewards and essentially doing what they're doing. So in that sense, it's more about just being grateful that they're doing that, but it's not so reliable in the sense that it's going to always keep continuing on and that they'll always have money, since it was funded by donations. By Mark DeMeasel, by the way, so shout out to him. I did an interview with him either a year or 2 years ago. DTube has been still very consistent, really, really solid. Again, my only complaint for DTube is generally that there's issues with performance and like technical complexities, I guess. That's not really a big issue though. Bastion, they're coming out with a way for you to easily track your earnings going forward, but currently it's not very easy. And because I'm spending more Pcoin now to pin my comments and do different things on the platform, it's very hard for me to know how much I've actually earned. So I haven't actually earned zero, but I'm reporting zero for now because there's just no easy way for me to tell. But in the future, fairly soon, they said that they're going to be releasing a way for you to easily see all that. And that should make this significantly easier in the future. I put YouTube up here because everything below YouTube is less of a priority generally for me. And this is what I mean. Blurt is great, but it's a clone of Hive. I really do like what Blurt offers, but I can do all that with Hive. So generally I just post to Blurt and Steam, for example, through DTube, and then just whatever I get through Blurt, I funnel it all back to Hive. I know there's people on Blurt who disagree with that, but for me, Hive is significantly more safe and liquid, and there's only one way to get out of Blurt, and that's just way too limiting. If there was something that happened and I wasn't able to do it anymore or whatever, I'm much, much, much more confident in my Hive, in my HBD. So I'm putting everything more in what I'm confident in and feel secure using versus necessarily what I think is going to be more valuable. And that's a big focus of mine going forward, especially what has been happening in Canada. I'm focusing a lot more on privacy coins. I'm selling all my stocks. I will get into all that in my next investing update though. So Blur is still good for earnings and rewards, and it's been fairly consistent. But I do know that it's kind of being propped up a little bit by like massive blurt influencers who want me to like blurt more. And thus they're helping me earn more to kind of prop it up a little bit. But, you know, either way, money is money. I'm not going to refuse free votes. Loop is the version of Tribe that has migrated onto Terra, technically making it the first Terra social media platform that I'm aware of. It's still kind of like not that great, and it's like slow and clunky, and you still have to do all the same issues essentially, but they're airdropping every month Loop that you could swap and sell for Terra or UST or whatever. And my first airdrop, I got $70, which will be shown next month, but it's definitely worth including just so that people are aware that if you did used to have a Tribe account, you can be getting airdrops. And I'm not totally sure how it works. Maybe even if you start a new account, you can get airdrops too, but it's definitely worth checking out and looking into. BitTube was very dismal. I'm just going to keep including it because it's growing really well. So I'm hoping that maybe the price or how much I'm earning will sort of correlate to that, but we'll see. Yup continues to be, it earns okay, but the problem with Yup, I mean, the price is down like massively, and more importantly, it costs way too much to transfer out. They have just switched to Polygon though, which I believe is going live today. So this could all be very, very different next month when I report, and a lot of those issues might be solved, which will be great. Torum, again, is limited by the actions that you perform on the actual platform. So I was limited to $15, but that's essentially everything, which comes to $622.16 Canadian. Converted to American dollars, that's $485.28. This just gives you kind of an overview of the percentages of each of them, so you can kind of just see the breakdowns of, you know, in a more visual way. That's, you can clearly see Hive made up a massive portion, so did Read.Cash and Blurt. Generally, I would say the major players here are YouTube, DTube, Hive, and the .cash and Blurt as well. And then I guess you could throw in Leo with Hive because it's all kind of the same ecosystem. A lot of the other ones are just, you know, little small payouts here and there, but it does all add up. So it's not like you want to neglect any of those. But if I had to recommend that you would use, you know, only a few platforms, it would be Read.Cash, Hive, and then probably Blurt and DTube, depending on how much extra, you know, time and energy you have to put towards these different things, as well as the type of content that you're making, because Read.Cash is more geared towards articles, DTube and, DTube is more geared towards video. Blurt is a mix of both, and same with Hive. So you've kind of got all the venues there, and you can do what works best for you. And then last but not least, this is the same chart that we looked at the beginning, just sort of tracking the changes month over month. And that's everything. So let me know if this was helpful for you guys. Let me know, what platforms are you earning on? Is there anywhere that you're earning on that you don't see me reporting on? Or there's platforms that you might be on and you don't see that I'm on there under @ScottCBusiness. I'm always looking for new platforms to utilize and earn on. So do let me know if there's anything that you're seeing out there, or if there's places that you think I could be taking better advantage of, like people continue to tell me about Blurt. Blurt is a good platform, and their continued prompting of me to take it more seriously has been beneficial and has earned me money. So I'm always open to new suggestions and to, you know, kind of go around where people are actually focused on and where they're earning and where they feel that you can earn the most. I'm always willing to check it out and test it for myself. So do let me know in the comments below. And since you watched to the very end, also let me know in the comments below that you did by commenting #1 ham in the comments below. And that way I know that you did watch the whole thing. Anyways, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka ScottCBusiness, signing off. Cheers.